Ta looked out the window of the space shuttle as it approached Celestial University. The massive campus spread across the surface of planet Novus like a shining web. His heart beat fast with excitement and fear. "First time off Earth?" asked a voice. Tay turned to see another human. She had short black hair and a friendly smile. "Yes, I'm Ta, from South Korea. I'm Jai, also from Korea." She pointed out the window. "Amazing, isn't it? Humans have only been part of the Galactic Academic Alliance for 3 years. The year was 2157. Earth had finally joined the stars. Ta had won one of the few human scholarships to study at the most famous university in the galaxy. The shuttle landed smoothly. Ta grabbed his bags and followed the crowd into a massive hall with a ceiling that seemed to touch the sky. Aliens of all shapes and sizes moved around them. Some had 4 arms, others had scales, and a few seemed to float rather than walk. "Welcome, new students." A tall blue alien with 6 eyes stood on a platform. "I am Dean Exorin. You represent the best minds from 300 species across our galaxy. At Celestial University, you will learn, grow, and prepare to shape our shared future." Tad listened carefully, trying not to stare at the strange beings around him. He had been warned that many aliens thought humans were weak. They called Earth a death world because of its high gravity and harsh conditions, but they still saw humans as soft and fragile compared to most spacefaring species. After the welcome speech, a small flying robot led Ta to his dorm. The door slid open to reveal a large room with 4 beds of different sizes and shapes. A huge red creature with 4 muscular arms was arranging items on one of the beds. Another being with pale skin and no hair sat cross-legged on a floating cushion. "Hello," Ta said. "I'm Ta from Earth." The 4-armed alien turned. "A human. I am Valkyr of Draconis. I've never met an Earth being before." The floating alien nodded without opening its eyes. "Luther of Korea. Welcome." "The other bed is for another human," Valkyr said, pointing to a bed similar to Ta's. "Han, I think. 2 humans in 1 dorm. The university must be testing something." Ta put his bags down and sat on his bed. It adjusted perfectly to his body. "Is it true humans break easily?" Valkyr asked, his 4 eyes blinking with curiosity. "We learned that your bones snap under pressure that would merely bruise a draconian child." Before Tai could answer, Luther spoke. "Don't be rude, Valkyr. The human is nervous enough." He finally opened his eyes, which were completely black. "Though I admit, I too am curious about your species. You're something of a mystery in the galaxy." The door opened again, and another human walked in. "I'm Han," he said with a small bow. "From Seoul." "Another Korean," Ta said with relief. "I'm Ta." They spoke quickly in Korean, happy to find someone familiar so far from home. Later that day, all new students took a tour of the campus. The buildings seemed impossible, some hanging upside down, others changing shape as they watched. The technology was beyond anything Tai had seen on Earth. Physical education classes are held in the low-gravity dome, their guide explained. Species-specific accommodations are available for most life forms. A tall alien with spikes along its arms made a sound like laughter. "Will they make the dome extra heavy for the humans, so they don't float away like tissue paper?" Several aliens laughed. Ta felt his face grow hot. That night, lying in his bed, Ta wondered if he had made a mistake coming here. Then he remembered his parents' proud faces when he got his scholarship. He remembered his promise to prove that humans belonged among the stars. "I'll show them," he whispered to himself. "I'll show them all what humans can do." The first week of classes went better than Tay expected. In subjects like galactic history and advanced mathematics, he did well. His human brain was as good as any alien's for these subjects. But then came physical education class. The gym was enormous. Some areas had extra gravity, some had none. Different species worked out in the areas that matched their home worlds. Professor Krill, A tall gray alien with muscles on top of muscles looked down at Tai and the other humans. Humans, he said with a sound like rocks grinding together. You will follow the standard course. No special treatment. Jai raised her hand. Professor, Earth gravity is much stronger than standard. Shouldn't we? No exceptions, Krill interrupted. The galaxy doesn't make exceptions. If humans want to join galactic society, they must keep up. Ta looked at the obstacle course. It had climbing walls 3 times his height, weights that looked impossible to lift, and gaps that seemed too wide to jump. Begin, Krill shouted. The alien students moved through the course with ease. 4 armed draconians like Valkyr climbed the walls in seconds. Jelly-like Morbians squeezed through tight spaces. Winged avians flew over the gaps. When Tay's turn came, he tried his best. The first wall was too high. He jumped, grabbed, pulled, but fell back down. Aliens laughed. He tried again and again. Finally, he found small cracks in the wall. He put his fingers and toes in these tiny spaces and slowly climbed up. His muscles burned. Sweat ran down his face. But he made it to the top. The weights were next. Ta couldn't lift them the normal way. Instead, he rolled them, pushed them with his legs, used his whole body. It wasn't pretty, but he moved them. For the wide jumps, he used a long pole he found near the course. He stuck it in the ground and used it to vault across the gaps. By the end, Tai was last to finish. His time was 3 times slower than anyone else's. His clothes were soaked with sweat. His hands were bleeding from the rough wall. Barely acceptable, Professor Krill said, marking something on his tablet. Tomorrow will be harder. After class, Ta sat alone in the locker room, exhausted. That was impressive, said a voice. It was Valkyr. Ta looked up, confused. But I came in last. Yes, but you finished. Most of us thought you wouldn't even complete the course. Valkyr sat down, his large body making the bench creak. You found solutions we didn't see. You used your brain when your body wasn't enough. In the cafeteria later, Tada found G sitting with Han and a few other human students. How was your PE class? Tai asked G as he sat down. Terrible, she said. Professor Urza made us swim in thick liquid that feels like honey. My arms still hurt. Han nodded. My professor made us run in high gravity. 3 humans fainted. They're testing us, said another human student. They want to see if we break. Or they want us to quit, G said. There are aliens who think humans don't belong here. That night, Taz's body ached all over. He could barely move his arms. As he lay in bed, Luther floated nearby on his cushion. Your pain is loud, Luther said. Your thoughts project strongly when you're in distress. Sorry, Ta said. I didn't know you could feel it. I can block it, Luther said. But I'm curious. Why continue if it hurts so much? Ta thought for a moment. Humans are used to pain. We've evolved with it. Sometimes pain is the price of progress. Luther looked thoughtful. Interesting. Most species avoid pain at all costs. The next day, Ta's muscles still hurt, but he went to class anyway. Before PE, he found G stretching carefully. Ready for another round of torture? She asked with a small smile. No, Ta said, but we'll do it anyway. As Professor Krill called them to a new, even harder course, Tai took a deep breath. He wasn't just doing this for himself anymore. He was doing it for all humans, to show the galaxy what they were made of. Attention, students. Dean Exorin's voice came through speakers all over campus. Next week is our annual Cultural Exchange Festival. All species will share something from their home worlds. Prepare your presentations. Tai and G sat in the library, studying together. What should we show them about Earth? G asked. Tai thought for a moment. Something that shows our strengths, something that will surprise them. They decided to demonstrate Korean martial arts. For the next week, They practiced taekwondo and hapkido every night after classes. Han joined them, adding his knowledge of traditional sword fighting. The day of the festival arrived. The main hall was transformed with displays from hundreds of planets. The Draconians showed battle dances with 4 swords at once. The Quarians demonstrated mind-linking in glowing circles of light. The Avians created beautiful sky patterns with their colorful wings. Then it was Earth's turn. Tai, Ji, and Han walked to the center of the hall. They wore traditional white dobok uniforms. "We will show you taekwondo and hapkido," Tai announced. "Fighting arts from Korea, a region of Earth." Some aliens laughed. "Fighting arts? From the fragile humans?" someone called out. Tai ignored them. He nodded to Ji and Han, and they began. First, they showed forms, precise movements of blocks, kicks, and strikes. Then they demonstrated breaking boards with their hands and feet. "These are just thin pieces of wood," said a spiky alien. "Not impressive." Then Tai and Ji showed the real power of their arts. Ji, though smaller than Tai, threw him over her shoulder using his own weight against him. Tai used pressure points to control Han's movements. Han showed how a smaller fighter could redirect a larger opponent's force. The hall grew quiet as they continued. The aliens watched with growing interest. When they finished, there was silence. Then Valkyr stepped forward. "I don't understand," he said. "You didn't use superior strength or special abilities." "That's the point," Tai explained. "These arts were developed by humans who needed to defend against stronger attackers. We used technique and leverage instead of raw power." "Fascinating," said a professor with tentacles for arms. "The humans have developed fighting systems that acknowledge and compensate for their physical limitations." After the demonstration, many aliens came to ask questions. Some even wanted to try the techniques themselves. "Maybe we were wrong about humans." Tai overheard one alien saying to another. "They're weak in some ways, but adaptable in others." Later, at the food section of the festival, Ta shared Korean dishes he had made using similar ingredients found on Novus. Many aliens were surprised by the spicy flavors. "Humans eat this. Doesn't it hurt?" asked a small green alien with 3 eyes. "A little," Ta said, "but humans often enjoy a little pain with pleasure. It's part of the experience." As the festival continued, Ta noticed a group of aliens watching the Earth display with angry eyes. They wore silver pins shaped like stars. "Who are they?" Tai asked Luther. "Purity of stars," Luther said quietly. "They believe only the strongest species should be in the alliance. They think humans and other lesser species don't belong here." One of the group, a tall blue alien with sharp teeth, walked past Ta. "Enjoy your time here while it lasts, human," he hissed. "Your kind won't be here long." Tai felt a chill, but he stood tall. "We're not going anywhere." The alien smiled coldly. "We'll see." That night, as students from all species celebrated together, Tai felt both hope and worry. They had shown a small part of what humans could do. Some aliens were beginning to see humans differently. But he also knew they had made enemies. The road ahead would not be easy. "Is something wrong?" Ji asked, sitting beside him. "Just thinking," Ta said. "We showed them our fighting arts today. I wonder if we'll need to use them for real soon." 2 weeks after the Cultural Exchange Festival, Tai entered the science lab to find his project in ruins. The plant samples he had been growing were crushed. His data tablet was broken in half. "Not again," said another human student working nearby. "That's the 3rd human project destroyed this month." Tai reported the damage to his professor, but nothing happened. The next day, she found her locker filled with a foul-smelling slime. "Someone is targeting human students," Ta said as they cleaned out Ji's locker. Han nodded. Park from chemistry had his meal card erased. Kim from xenobiology found threatening messages on her bed. That evening, Ta, Ji, and Han met in a quiet corner of the student center. Valkyr and Luther joined them. "We need to do something," Ta said. The school isn't taking this seriously. The administration doesn't want to admit there's a problem, Luther said. It would make the university look bad. I think it's the Purity of Stars group, G said. The ones with the silver star pins. Valcor frowned. They've been around for years, but they've never been this bold before. Tell us more about them, Tai asked. Valcor's 4 arms crossed in discomfort. They believe only the strongest species should study advanced knowledge. In their view, humans and other weaker species will dilute the quality of galactic civilization. That's ridiculous, Han said. To you, yes. But they have supporters, even among some professors, Luther said quietly. The next day in physical education, Professor Krill set up a new challenge, climbing a sheer wall with only small handholds. This is impossible for humans, Jay whispered to Ta. Our fingers aren't strong enough. Tai studied the wall. Most aliens were climbing it with ease, using claws, extra limbs, or sticky pads on their hands. When Tai's turn came, he approached the wall but didn't try to climb it directly. Instead, he found a long cord used for another exercise. He tied a loop, threw it around a handhold near the top, and used it to help pull himself up while his feet found small supports. Halfway up, someone stepped on his rope from above. Tai looked up to see a blue face smiling down at him, the same alien who had threatened him at the festival. Oops, the alien said, grinding his foot harder on the rope. The rope snapped. Ta fell, landing hard on his back. The air rushed from his lungs. Pain shot through his body. Ta. Ji ran to him. Are you okay? Pathetic, said the blue alien, climbing down easily. Humans don't belong on that wall, or in this university. Professor Krill walked over. What happened? The human fell, said the blue alien with a smirk. They're so fragile. I didn't fall, Ta said, sitting up despite the pain. Zorn broke my rope. Krill looked at the broken rope, then at Zorn. No evidence of that. Be more careful next time, human. That night, Tai sat with an ice pack on his bruised back. Luther floated nearby, looking troubled. I heard Zorn's thoughts today, Luther said suddenly. They were violent. Can you report that? Tai asked. Thought reading isn't allowed as evidence, Luther explained. But I learned something important. Zorn isn't just a student. His father is on the Galactic Academic Council. That's why the school won't touch him. So they'll let him hurt us. Ji asked, her voice angry. We need to be smart about this, Han said. We can't fight them directly. We need allies, Ta said. Not all aliens think like Zorn. Valcor, who had been quiet, finally spoke. I know others who don't agree with Purity of Stars. I can talk to them. As they made plans, a message appeared on all their tablets. Tad read it aloud. Attention all students. The annual Celestial Challenge will begin in 1 month. Teams or individuals may register to compete in tests of mental and physical skill. Winners receive academic honors and prizes. They all looked at each other. That's it, Ta said, his eyes bright with an idea. That's how we show everyone what humans can really do. You want to enter the Celestial Challenge. Ji looked at Ta like he was crazy. No human has ever made it past the first round. They sat in the student center with Han, Valcor, and Luther. Other students walked by, some giving them curious looks. That's exactly why we should do it, Ta said. If we can show everyone what humans can really do, maybe they'll stop treating us like we're weak. Han shook his head. The challenges are designed for aliens with 4 arms or wings or super strength. Then we'll train, Ta said. We'll prepare. We have 1 month. Ji thought for a moment, then nodded. I'm in. Han sighed. Me too, I guess. Valcor slammed his 4 hands on the table. I will help train you. Draconians are excellent physical coaches, and I can teach you mental techniques, Luther added. Many challenges test the mind, as well as the body. The next day, their training began. Every morning before classes, Valker took them to the gym to build strength. Every evening, Luther taught them meditation and focus exercises. Lift with your legs, not your back. Valker instructed as Taj struggled with the weight. Humans have strong leg muscles compared to your arms. Ta pushed harder. The weight moved a little, then a little more. In another session, Luther had them sit in quiet meditation. Your minds are always noisy, he said. Learn to quiet them. Focus on one thing only. Days passed, then weeks. The humans grew stronger, faster, and more focused. Still, they were far behind most alien students in raw physical ability. One evening, during a particularly difficult training session, Ta slipped while jumping between platforms. He fell and hit his knee hard on the metal floor. Pain shot up his leg. He bit his lip to keep from crying out. Ji ran to him. Are you okay? Ta stood up, wincing. I'm fine. Just a bruise. You should rest, Han said. We can continue tomorrow. No, Ta said. We keep going. In the real competition, we won't get breaks for small injuries. He continued training, limping slightly. Valker watched with new interest. Interesting, the Draconian said later to Luther. He's in pain, but he doesn't stop. Humans have an unusual relationship with pain, Luther replied. They can ignore it in ways other species cannot. The day before the Celestial Challenge, Zorn and 2 other Purity members cornered Ta in a hallway. We heard you humans are actually entering the challenge, Zorn said with a laugh. How pathetic. We have as much right to compete as anyone, Ta said calmly, remembering Luther's lessons about controlling emotions. You'll embarrass yourselves, said one of Zorn's friends, a tall purple alien with spikes on its head. Maybe, Ta admitted. Or maybe we'll surprise you. Zorn stepped closer, towering over Ta. Listen carefully, human. Your kind doesn't belong here. The challenge will prove that. When you fail, it will show everyone that the human exchange program was a mistake. Ta stood his ground. And if we succeed? Zorn's face twisted with anger. You won't. That night, Ta couldn't sleep. He sat by the window, looking at the stars. Nervous? Luther asked, floating nearby on his cushion. Yes, Ta admitted. What if Zorn is right? What if we fail and make things worse for all humans at the university? You might fail, Luther said. But from what I've observed of humans, how you fail matters as much as whether you succeed. What do you mean? Other species expect you to give up when things get difficult. They expect you to break. If you show them something different, you win regardless of the official outcome. The next morning, Ta, Ji, and Han stood at the entrance to the challenge arena. Hundreds of alien students had gathered to compete or watch. Ready? Tai asked his friends. Ji took a deep breath. Ready? Han nodded. Let's show them what humans can do. They walked into the arena together, ready to face whatever challenges awaited them. The first day of the Celestial Challenge surprised everyone. Out of 300 competitors, Ta, Ji, and Han all passed the opening round. Their training had paid off. The tests combined physical challenges with puzzles and mental tasks. While the humans struggled with raw strength challenges, they excelled at the puzzles that required creative thinking. Did you see Zorn's face when they announced we made it to round 2? Ji said, laughing as they celebrated in their dorm. This is just the beginning, Tai reminded them. Tomorrow will be harder. The second day brought more difficult challenges. Han was eliminated when he couldn't complete an underwater breathing test. Ji and Tai moved forward to the 3rd round. By the 5th day, only 50 competitors remained. Ji and Tai were the only humans left. News spread throughout the university. 2 humans in the top 50. Impossible. They must be cheating. That evening, Dean Soren made an announcement. Congratulations to our remaining competitors. Tomorrow begins the semifinals. The top 20 will advance to the final challenge. Rest well tonight. As Ta walked back to his dorm, he felt proud. They had already gone further than any humans before them. Whatever happened tomorrow, they had made their point. That night, as Ty returned from the library, he took a shortcut through a quiet part of campus. The path was dark and empty. He heard footsteps behind him. Before he could turn, something hard hit the back of his head. Ty fell to his knees, his vision blurry. "Hold him," said a familiar voice. Zorn. Strong hands grabbed Ty's arms. He tried to fight back, but there were too many of them. In the dim light, he counted 5 attackers, all wearing purity pins. "You've embarrassed us for the last time, human," Zorn said, standing over him. No human should advance to the semifinals. The first punch hit Ty's stomach, knocking the air from his lungs. The second hit his ribs. He heard a crack and felt sharp pain. "Stop," Todd gasped. "This isn't fair." "Fair," Zorn laughed. "Life isn't fair. Some species are meant to lead, others to follow. Humans are meant to stay on their death world." The beating continued. They were careful. They didn't hit his face or leave obvious marks. But Ty felt his ribs break. When they dropped him to the ground, one of them stomped on his leg. The pain was blinding. "Even if you somehow make it to the arena tomorrow, you won't be able to compete," Zorn said. "Do the smart thing. Withdraw. Tell them you're injured, or things will get worse for all humans here." They left him there, broken and alone in the dark. Todd tried to stand but couldn't. The pain was too much. His leg wouldn't support his weight. He crawled a few meters, then collapsed. The world started to go dark around him. "Ta, Ta." It was G's voice, far away. Then closer. "Oh no. What happened?" "Zorn," Ta managed to say before passing out. He woke up in the medical center. G sat beside his bed. Han stood nearby, his face angry. "How bad?" Ty asked, his voice weak. The doctor, a tall insect-like alien, answered, 3 broken ribs, fractured leg bone, internal bruising. You need at least 2 weeks of healing treatment. The semifinals are today, Ta said. You must withdraw, the doctor said firmly. You cannot compete in this condition. I have to, Ta said, trying to sit up. Pain shot through his body. It's not worth it, Jay said, gently pushing him back down. We've already proved our point. I'll still compete. You rest. No, Ta said. His voice was quiet but firm. If I withdraw, Zorn wins. He shows everyone that humans break easily. But you are broken, the doctor said, confused. Ta looked at the doctor, then at his friends. His eyes were clear and determined. I'm injured, he said. Not broken. There's a difference. Humans can function while injured. It's what we do. You're crazy, Han said. You can barely move. Help me up, Ta said to Jay. The semifinals start in 1 hour. This is madness, the doctor said as Ji and Han helped Ta dress. You could cause permanent damage. I'll be careful, Ta said, wincing as he pulled on his shirt over his bandaged ribs. The doctor gave him an injection for the pain. This will help for a few hours, but it won't heal anything. Luther and Valkyr arrived at the medical center, worried. We heard what happened, Valkyr said. Zorn will pay for this. Later, Ta said. First, I have a competition to finish. Valkyr stared at him. You can't be serious. You can barely walk. I'll manage. Luther tilted his head, studying Ta's thoughts. He's not going to change his mind. Humans are. Stubborn. They helped Ta to the arena. Each step sent pain through his body, but he forced himself to keep moving. When they reached the entrance, Professor Krill was checking in competitors. You're late, human, Krill said. Then he saw Ta's condition. What happened to you? I fell, Ta said. Krill's eyes narrowed. He didn't believe it. You should withdraw. I'm competing. Your choice, Krill said after a moment. The semifinal is an obstacle course. 40 students will start. Only 20 will advance. Inside the arena, the other competitors stared as Tai limped to the starting line. Ji stood beside him, looking worried. "You don't have to do this," she whispered. "Yes, I do." Zorn and his friends stood nearby, shocked to see Ta. Zorn's face darkened with anger. "Welcome to the semifinals," Dean Exorin announced. "Today's challenge tests strength, speed, and problem-solving. The course has 10 obstacles. The first 20 to finish move to the finals." A horn sounded. The race began. Most competitors sprinted ahead. Ta could only walk, each step careful and painful. Ji stayed with him for a moment. "Go," he told her. "One of us needs to make it." She nodded and ran ahead. The first obstacle was a climbing wall. With his broken ribs and injured leg, Todd couldn't climb normally. Instead, he found a network of ropes beside the wall, meant as decoration. He used these to pull himself up slowly, using his arms more than his legs. The crowd watched in silence. No one had ever taken this path before. The second obstacle was a series of deep water pits. Most aliens jumped across them easily. Ta couldn't jump with his injured leg. Instead, he found a long pole and used it as a bridge, carefully inching across. By the third obstacle, most competitors were far ahead. Tad was dead last. But he kept going. For a balance beam challenge, he crawled across on his stomach rather than walking. For a strength test, he used leverage instead of force, finding ways to move heavy objects with minimal physical effort. The crowd grew larger as word spread. A human was attempting the course with serious injuries. Professors stopped their classes. Students gathered to watch. "What is he doing?" they whispered. "Why doesn't he quit?" Halfway through the course, Tai's pain medication began to wear off. Every movement became agony. Sweat poured down his face. His breath came in short gasps. Professor Krill approached him. "Stop this, human. You've made your point." "Not yet," Ta said, pushing forward. By the 8th obstacle, 30 competitors had already finished. Only 10 spots remained in the finals. Tai was still far behind. The 9th obstacle required climbing a rope to a platform high above. With his injuries, it seemed impossible. The crowd fell silent, expecting him to finally give up. Instead, Todd wrapped the rope around his good leg and arm, creating a system that took pressure off his injuries. Inch by inch, he pulled himself up, his face tight with pain but determined. When he reached the top, something unexpected happened. The crowd began to cheer. The final obstacle was a simple sprint to the finish line. For the others, it had been easy. For Tai, it was the hardest part. He couldn't run. He could barely walk. With the last of his strength, he dragged himself forward. One step, another. The finish line seemed miles away. Behind him, Zorn watched with disbelief. This wasn't possible. The human should have broken by now. With 3 spots left in the finals, Ta crossed the finish line and collapsed. The arena erupted in cheers. Ta had done the impossible. Medical staff carried Ta from the arena on a stretcher. His friends followed closely behind. In the medical center, the doctor scanned his body again. "You've made your injuries worse," the doctor said, shaking his head. "Now you must rest. No more competing. The finals are tomorrow," Ta said weakly. "Impossible," the doctor replied. "Your body needs time to heal." Ji took Ta's hand. "You did it, Ta. You proved humans don't give up. But this is enough." News of Ta's performance spread across campus, then beyond. Videos of the injured human completing the course reached other universities and even Earth. By evening, reporters had gathered outside the medical center. Dean Soren came to visit Ta. The tall blue alien looked troubled. "What you did today was either very brave or very foolish," the dean said. "Perhaps both." "Will I be allowed to compete tomorrow?" Ta asked. The dean sighed. "The rules don't forbid injured students from competing, but the university has a responsibility to protect students from harm." On Earth, Ta said, We believe individuals should decide what risks they take. I will discuss it with the competition committee, the dean said. After the dean left, Professor Krill arrived. The usually stern teacher seemed different. Why did you do it? Krill asked. You could have withdrawn with honor. Tai thought for a moment. Because every human at this university is judged by what I do. If I quit, it proves what people like Zorn believe, that humans break easily. Krill nodded slowly. I've been teaching for 50 years. I've never seen anyone finish that course with injuries like yours. He paused. I was wrong about humans. That night, security guards were posted outside Ta's room. No one mentioned Zorn, but everyone knew why the guards were there. In the morning, the dean returned with the committee's decision. You may compete, he said, but you must sign a statement taking full responsibility for any further injuries. Thank you, Ta said. Don't thank me, the dean replied. Many committee members think this is a mistake, but we acknowledge your right to choose. The final challenge was held on Novus's largest moon. The 20 finalists were transported by shuttle. Thousands watched from viewing screens across campus. The final test combines all previous challenges, the announcer explained. Competitors must navigate the lunar terrain, solve puzzles, and reach the finish line. The lunar gravity is 1/6 of standard, which may help some but confuse others. Ta stood at the starting line with the other finalists. His leg was in a brace. His ribs were tightly wrapped. The doctor had given him stronger pain medication, but warned it might make him dizzy. Jai stood next to him. She had placed 5th in the semifinals. Sure you want to do this? She asked. Ta nodded. I came this far. The race began. In the low gravity, many competitors bounded ahead in huge leaps. Ta found that the lighter gravity made his injuries hurt less. He could move more freely than on Novus. The course twisted through lunar canyons and craters. Puzzles blocked the way forward. Ta used his mind when his body couldn't keep up. He solved a complex math problem that stopped many stronger competitors. Halfway through, Zorn caught up to Ta at a difficult climbing section. The blue alien glared at him. You should have stayed in the medical center, human, Zorn growled. Sorry to disappoint you, Ta replied. When this is over, you and all humans will be driven from this university. We'll see. As they climbed, a small moonquake shook the course. Rocks tumbled down. Zorn lost his grip and fell, crying out in pain. His leg was trapped under a boulder. Tad looked down at his enemy. He could leave Zorn there. No one would blame him after what Zorn had done. Instead, Todd climbed down and helped free Zorn's leg. Why? Zorn asked, confused. Because that's also what humans do, Ta said, then continued on his way. As the finish line came into view, Ta knew he wouldn't win. Several competitors were already finishing, but he kept going, step by painful step. When he crossed the line, the crowd erupted in the loudest cheer of the day. Ta had placed 8th out of 20, the highest rank any human had ever achieved in the Celestial Challenge. 1 week after the Celestial Challenge ended, Ta sat in the university's main hall. His leg was still in a brace. His ribs were healing. Hundreds of students and teachers filled the room around him. Dean Soren stood on the stage. Today, we recognize extraordinary achievement and address serious misconduct. The dean first announced the winners of the challenge. A tall avian had taken first place. Jay had placed 6th, another record for humans. When Ta's 8th place was announced, the hall erupted in applause. Now to more serious matters. The dean continued. Following an investigation, we have confirmed that student Zorn and his associates attacked and injured Ta before the semifinals. Murmurs spread through the crowd. Zorn sat in the front row, his head lowered. Such behavior violates our most basic principles, the dean said. The Purity of Stars group is hereby disbanded. All involved students will face disciplinary action. Zorn was called to the stage. Many expected him to be expelled, but when he spoke, he surprised everyone. I was wrong, Zorn said, his voice quiet. I believe humans were weak and didn't belong here. But when I was trapped on the moon, Ta could have left me. Instead, he stopped to help, despite his own injuries and despite what I had done to him. Zorn turned to look at Ta. I've learned that physical strength isn't the only kind of strength, and that my ideas about purity were actually making our galactic society weaker, not stronger. After the assembly, Professor Krill approached Ta. I'm changing my physical education program, he said. Each species will be evaluated based on their own capabilities, not compared directly to others. 2 months later, Ta walked across campus. His leg had healed, though he still had a slight limp that doctors said might never fully disappear. Students greeted him as he passed. Many who had once ignored him now stopped to talk. In the student center, he found Ji and Han watching a video screen. A news reporter was talking. Applications from Earth to the Galactic Academic Alliance have increased tenfold following what many are calling the Celestial Challenge incident. Human students are now being accepted at universities across the galaxy. You're famous, Ji said as Tai sat down. The human who changed how the galaxy sees us. We all did it, Ta said. You placed 6th. That's amazing. But you're the one they talk about. The injured human who wouldn't quit. Valkyr and Lither joined them, along with students from several other species. My cousin at Central University says they're starting a human exchange program next year, said a small green alien. They never would have considered it before. I've been reading about Earth history, another student added. Humans have always pushed through pain and hardship. It's fascinating. Lither nodded. What makes humans special isn't that you don't break. It's that you continue even when you are broken. 1 year later, Tai stood at the front of a classroom. His student ID now had teaching assistant under his name. New students from 20 species looked back at him, including twice as many humans as the previous year. Welcome to Comparative Species Physiology, Ta said. I'm Ta, your teaching assistant. A small alien raised its hand. Are you the human from the challenge? The one who competed while injured? Ta nodded. Yes, that was me. Why did you do it? Asked another student. When you could have quit. Ta thought for a moment. On Earth, we have a saying. It's not about how hard you can hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. He looked around the classroom, meeting the eyes of each student. That's what I hope you all learn here. Every species has weaknesses. Every individual faces challenges. What matters is not that we never fall, but that we always rise again. As he spoke, Ta noticed Zorn standing in the doorway, listening. They nodded to each other with newfound respect. Outside the window, ships arrived with more new students from across the galaxy, including more humans than ever before. Each one carried the hope of understanding between different worlds and different beings. All because one injured human refused to quit.